Another fantastic day to be French. Thierry, let's talk about that performance. How do you begin to describe it? How would you put it into words?
Great team effort. I think for me, I try to explain to people what we do off the ball is also important. At the beginning of the game, they were talked about. It's the first time that Didier Deschamps goes with 4 players like that, offensive players. It's because 3 of them are running a lot off the ball. What Dembele does, what Barcola does, and Michael Olise does. I think, if I'm not mistaken, is the guy that recovered the most balls, Michael Olise. So when you think about it offensively, what he does also defensively, and what Chouameni just said there, he said we played well defensively and offensively. Do not underestimate that. And so now it's going to be Paraguay. I've been there in '98. I know it's very different. You know about how difficult it is to play against Paraguay. We scored a very famous goal now from Laurent Blanc in what was the golden goal at the time. It doesn't really exist anymore. So it's going to be difficult. But what I like from this French team is how we are, because we are solid and the balance is right. I always said I prefer Olise as a 10 and Dembele on the right. You can see how the team is a bit more balanced when that happens.
Zlatan, Paraguay obviously going to be watching videos, but so are the likes of Spain, Argentina, other big teams that feel that if they can do their thing, they'll get to the final to meet France. But how is anyone going to stop them, whether it's Paraguay or in Argentina?
I mean, Paraguay will certainly play with a low block, just like Sweden tried to do, but in a different formation. I think they will play with a 5 defense, and they defend much better than Sweden. But it doesn't mean anything, because if France want, it depends on them. And like Thierry said, they play as a team. When you have a stars play as a team, it's difficult to beat them. And when we talk Spain, Argentina, if they will face France, they will play with their own identity and not adapt for France, because it's 2 giants playing against each other. They're going to see who plays out who. But it's not easy. But what I like to say also, when you have strikers like this and you have a Olise that doesn't have an ego, that wants to score goals, is perfect for Dembele, that also doesn't have, but Mbappe is more of an ego, he wants to score. But when one of them doesn't have it, the combination is perfect.
Zlatan, where is Michael Olise for you right now in terms of best in the world?
Listen, if we take the gentlemen here, maybe have different names. Take the 5 best players in the world. 3 of them is in that attack. Dembele, Olise, Mbappe. Then we can take another 2. I'll let you guys choose. Haaland, Messi.
You like Yamal, right? So.
Yamal, sorry. Bravo, king of the jungle.
Yeah.
I like that. That's why we need Thierry in the studio, because I'm getting old. I'm forgetting things. But Yamal, Haaland, I would say, because Messi is in his own class.
Sure.
But 3 of top 5 is in this attack. And it's not easy to make that combination. We have an example when PSG had Mbappe, Messi, and Neymar. It was not working 100%. But these guys, they don't have this ego who will be the one. And they do also the job off the ball, which is more important than on the ball. Because on the ball, we know what they can do. They can decide the game by themselves, all of them. So it's scary.
Alex, it feels like they've gone from one of the favourites to far and away the favourite, does it?
No, they're the favourite. I mean, I think it would be surprising for them not to win this tournament. And yes, you could look at Argentina, maybe you can look at Spain, and then it's very difficult to find anybody that's going to compete. Even before this game, Graham Potter said they need to have the game of their lives. They need to have a perfect game to even compete with this French team. Obviously, they didn't have that. And I look at this French team and the depth that they have. And to your point, they do have ego, but in a good, healthy way. And I think Didier Deschamps deserves a tremendous amount of credit once again for being able to manage it and harness all of that ego and even have them play off of each other. And it almost seems like we're volleying back and forth between games. We didn't talk a whole lot about Dembele today, and yet we talked about Olise and we talked about Kylian Mbappe, and that could change game to game. They'll pick up the slack from the others. And then, if they do need to make changes, I mean, the bench, he looks down, and it's really, really expensive champagne problems to have for him. So it's a wonderful thing to see. You don't have to be French to be happy today or to enjoy today. We are incredibly privileged to be able to watch this team in the way that they play. And I'll finish it with this. In the past, French teams at different times have had dysfunction, that it's reared its ugly head. You don't see any of that right now. Again, I think it goes back to Didier Deschamps and what he has done. So from a technical perspective, from a mentality perspective, from a cultural perspective, what this team is, it is everything.
We're going to hear from Graham Potter in just a second, the Swedish manager, but that man there on the screen, what makes him so good at his job, Thierry, Didier Deschamps?
Winning.
But how does he do it?
He finds a way. We talked about. By the way, the celebration was outstanding. Also, when
they ran to him,
when Kylian went to him to celebrate, because we all know what happened. That gave me goosebumps. I have to say. But at one point, I think I mentioned it in one of the shows when people were talking about luck. Oh, it's not luck. This guy is a serial winner. And that's about it. We can talk about it, and you know, I can also tell you know how hard it is to have a lot of alphas and make sure that only one will be the alpha.
So how does he do that? Yeah?
Well, guys have a certain way to understand how a team should be working, and he came under a lot of pressure after the Euro because of how the team was playing. Everyone was saying that since Antoine Griezmann wasn't the same type of player, we didn't have that 10. We didn't have the pass of Pogba also from a deeper situation. We have a 10 now. And you know what? Like I said, when he's on the ball, it's like having Zidane, Michael Olise. And when we are off the ball, it's like having Patrick Vieira. You can call him Zinedine Vieira. But what I'm trying to say about Michael, I'll be honest with you. I've been watching football for a very long time. And in the last 2 years, with Lamine Yamal, and some others, I will be honest, but Michael Olise brought me back to the love of football, on and off the ball. If you want to learn how to play football, watch Michael Olise. And you can see Lamine Yamal. Sometimes you have some guys that are very difficult to copy because it's just them being them, a Messi, a Ronaldo, although we can talk about outworking, or we can talk about Lamine Yamal, the way he dribbles or whatever it is. But Michael Olise, the way he plays, you know, all those guys, the guys that I mentioned, you know, we knew the Messi and the Ronaldo. We just have to sit and enjoy them a bit more because it's towards the end of the career. But the guys that are coming now, thank you. I'm enjoying myself.
Thierry, one question.
Yeah.
If this France wins the World Cup, which from the last 3 World Cups was the best French national team? Because only you can answer that.
It's going to have to be a combo. It's very difficult to compare eras. Like I always say, like when you say that, like we won the first one, you know, they won 2018, they went to a final, so they're back-to-back. We didn't manage to do that. You know,
only the winners. That
it's tough. It's tough because our back line, you know, if you had to face Marcel Desailly and Lilian Thuram and Lizarazu and Vieira and Deschamps and Petit and Zizou, so, you know, I'm not going to compare that. I'm happy to be French and to enjoy it at the moment. But like I said, you know me, let's not go ahead of anything because I also saw the Netherlands beat Sweden 5-1 and I saw them also leaving the World Cup playing against Morocco. So one step at a time. Yes, I'm happy. But Michael, Lamine Yamal, whoever out there, carry on playing the way you're playing because I love it. Thank you for bringing me back to my first love after my family and my kids. Football, thank you.
Love it. Gentlemen, thank you. OK, so let's talk Sweden, shall we? Katie Shanahan caught up with their head coach, Graham Potter, after the defeat.
Graham, not the result you would have wanted. How do you reflect on your side's performance today?
Well, we met a top team. I think that's the reality. I think we needed to be absolutely at our maximum. And even then, I'm not sure it would have been enough, if we're brutally honest. I think the difference in the two teams in terms of their experience, their quality, and ours, we're a developing young team. That for the first part of the game, I thought we were stable and quite good. And then I think they just drove us back a little bit too much. And to concede before half-time made it difficult for us. But no, I've got no complaints over the players, no complaints over what we've done this tournament. We've learned a lot, we've grown a lot. But we met, I would say, a fantastic team today.
Graham Potter talking to Katie Shanahan. That's the problem, Zlatan. I mean, even if they've been playing at their absolute best, he said there, we still wouldn't have been enough. How do you rate Graham Potter and Sweden, not just today, but in this tournament so far?
I think Graham Potter did a good job, first by bringing them to the World Cup, because if you look at the qualification, not a lot of points, then they get a second life by doing the playoffs. He made it to the World Cup. First game, amazing, 5-1, winning against Tunisia, and then they fired the coach Tunisia, so I don't know if that was for Sweden, but they won 5-1. We enjoyed there. Then a little bit reality against the Netherlands, losing 5-1. And against Japan was also a good game, get a draw there. Then listen, whoever plays France, even if you have a perfect game, it doesn't depend on you. It depends on France, because if France, like Thierry said now, if they put on the second gear, you can be how perfect you want, but it's all on France what they want. So that's why when I say it's scary, because it all depends on them. But I would say that also against the bigger nations, that it depends on France, not only the smaller nations. But in football, everything can happen, step by step, game by game. But to be honest, the way that France has been playing, they would beat any team in this tournament. And I'm happy for Sweden. We are a small nation. We made it to the World Cup. We had difficulties before that when we didn't make it to the World Cup. And we should be proud. We have 10 million in that country, and football is the main sport for us, and have one of the best to make it, and he's sitting here in the studio.
He has to finish with himself.
He always has to come back round.
I mean, you know Sweden because I put the flag on the map, yeah?
You know you did, no, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, we've never heard of Sweden before. Ever.
I want to talk about...
Henrik Larsson, maybe, no?
No, he's on top. He was my idol.
So that's
I
what
like
I'm
him.
saying, that's
He
why I
was
said
my
that.
idol.
Ah.
But I brought it further.
Let's talk about the earlier game. Erling Haaland doing his thing, Alexi, as Norway go to play Brazil this weekend. Another really good game to look forward to in the round of 16. Having beaten Ivory Coast, as we had a little look at the top of the show, they're finding their way, aren't they, Norway?
They are, and even in a day where Erling Haaland wasn't dominant, we know he was rested because he didn't play the third game. He still does what great goal scorers do, which is be in the right place at the right time and do the most valuable thing in the game, which is put the ball in the back of the net. The fun around this team is infectious. I think people have gravitated to it for the fans, for the ritual. Here's part of it here in terms of the rowing. And I think that they have connected with people in this country, whether you're a fan of Norway or not, whether you even know who Erling Haaland is or any of these players. And these are the things that come out of World Cups. It's players that you are introduced to, cultures that you are introduced to. Like I said, rituals that you are introduced to. And many, many years from now, there are people that will have watched this, those two right there, that will think back to the summer of 2026 and remember the rowing. And remember these things. So a World Cup is so much more than the actual kicking of the ball. But when it comes to actually kicking the ball, this Norway team believes that they can do big things. And they have the players to do it. They have the talent to do it. It was challenging today. Ivory Coast deserves a tremendous amount of credit for the way that they came out and the way that they played. But, the Vikings are going on.
I want to talk Norway with you in just a sec. Just a reminder, if anyone's switching on this evening, the game between Mexico and Ecuador at the moment is rain, lightning, delayed. We have a weather situation down there in Mexico City. We don't yet know when kickoff will be. It has been impacted by the weather, but we've got you covered because I want to talk to you about this Norway team because it is not just about Erling Haaland, even though he continues to do the business, right?
Well, if you have a guy that can score your goal, it's always, guys, when you have to defend, you always have hope that he's going to put the ball in the back of the net. But the way they play reminds me of anyone that saw the Champions League, and I know we're in the World Cup, Bodo Glimt. And if you're going to go further, I'm going to remind you that, but Iceland at the Euro, and the way they are, and when they came with their celebration and everyone copied. But what I would say about Norway is that it's a team. The way they play, the way they fight, Berge in midfield, Berg, Odegaard, the Soleth, moving for the big man all the time, running into the channel, holding the ball for him. And we all know when the guy is in the box and if you feed him, Berg, what he did, the team has to score, not you. I said it for Ronaldo, I'll say it for anyone in the world. Hakimi yesterday escaped. He should have passed that ball in the box. They won on penalty, so you win, you're right. But if you don't, we're going to call you out. Berg, well done. Feed the big man, he needs it.
Norway, Brazil then, this weekend. Last word on Norway for you, Zlatan. What kind of matchup is that, do you think?
It's a good matchup. I mean, Norway, they have the momentum with the fans and that great spirit. Brazil came out of a good win after being 1-0 down in Japan, and then in the end they won. So it's a great matchup. I think the defenders of Brazil has to watch out because the way Norway is playing, they're setting up for the big man to do his tap-ins, and Brazil have something going on also. But
it's outdoors too. It's outdoors, so be careful. The weather is part of the story of this this World Cup, especially when it comes to the heat.
It's also
this is the World Cup we want to see, like the difficult games, all about details, who does mistake, he's getting the consequence. All these games before, we leave it in the past.
Okay.
Now we're enjoying.
Absolutely. And another side story of that game as well. Gabriel against Erling Haaland, two players who go at it in the Premier League. Oh, they don't like each other at all. If you need another storyline, Erling Haaland against Gabriel, we're going to get some facial expression.